Good morning and namaste, and I've decided to do another video. I know I usually do them once a week, but I've decided to just grab my bottled unhealthy water. I've decided to do another video because last night I was downloaded quite a bit as I was writing my book. As all of you know, I'm writing the trilogy series Beyond Kindle. It's in regards to what empaths go through energetically on the inside realm and exactly how we follow those energy ties and exactly what happens within us being an empath and being so sensitive. And it's really taken into a fictional story. And I guess you can kind of look at other fictional books like it's leaving my mind now. The Celestine Prophecies, for example, or Pablo Coelho's book, The Alchemist, those types of things. So it follows that kind of genre. Now, between that, I've also been told by Spirit that I need to write the book on discernment, which is a self-help book. And I keep getting pushed towards that. And I keep hearing, I've been dreaming a lot lately, and Spirit keeps telling me, don't give me an excuse why you can't. I want to just hear how you can. So these things kind of came up last night of writing the self-help book on discernment. I feel it's going to be called Discern This or... Anyways, I wanted your input. I wanted to know how this would affect your life. Basically, we want to manifest everything in our life. We want to be healthy. And that's really what it comes down to, is health. And that means health in the physical, emotional, physical, spiritual, and etheric bodies. That's your 5 bodies. And so what I've been given by Spirit is a self-help type of book that is the 2 P's and the R. What are the 2 P's and the R? You can use the 2 P's interchangeably, which could be pause, pray, and then respond, or pray, pause, respond. And it's something that this technique is to be used that you can use in everyday situations. However you want to deal with mental issues, mental realm interactions and communication that you're having with people, or emotional triggers that you're having. And what it's all supposed to bring you into is to bring you to a place of discernment. And really a place of discernment, I believe, has been lost over the years. And it's been really propaganded by religion as to being something of a spiritual judgment. When in actuality, it's a spiritual judgment from within. It's your own spiritual judgment. I don't like using the word judgment, but it's your own spiritual judgment so that you can make a proper choice and exercise your power of choice. That's all it is. It is from a place within so that you are able to see all the realms coming and swirling into you so that you're sitting in your center space in the center space of the observer. And that you are not reacting or responding. And you can see everything coming into your vibration at that point. And you have the power of choice to pick your experiences and say, well, this emotional response is coming up from this person. And I know if when I reacted in the past, this is what this scenario would play out. And I no longer choose to play in that. So goodbye, out of my vibration. Oh, well, here is an opportunity that I see that I reacted differently before. However, I could react differently. I could do something differently in this situation. And instead of responding emotionally, maybe I will respond from the mental realm and set a boundary there and do something a little different. And let's see how that goes. And so you have choices when you're being the observer. You have many, 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 many opportunities to be in a place of discernment and to have self-judgment to make your power of choice. And so this is kind of what's been coming to me. So I'm going to I don't know if I can minimize this for a minute, if you can still see me, but I wanted to talk about this is what I've been given. The first thing you have to do is to, create space. Okay. So that's the first thing, is creating space. And that's been a huge thing, in the spiritual community, is creating space. So What's creating space? What is space? Is that just to put a stop to my thoughts? Does that mean that I just become a zombie and I just sit here? Well, creating space, I believe, is to first recognize space. We're so caught up in our exterior world of exactly how everything has a form. Everything around you. You know, when you look out into your driveway, for instance, or you look out into a parking lot, for instance, just look out into the parking lot. The first thing you see are cars. You don't see the space between the cars. We just take space for granted. We take space, I mean, in my room, there's more space here than there is anything in my room. You could even have, you know, a hoarder. There's probably still more space in the room than there is stuff in the house. That might be debatable, but yeah, and so I believe the first thing into practicing mindful practice, I mean, reading these things on mindful practice and doing yoga for mindful practice, you know, when your 45 minutes of yoga is up, then that's it. What do? We end up going back in our day like, okay, well, that was a great 45 minutes of learning how to be in my space. And bringing space is not just about being in the mind of space. It's recognizing spaces within your sentence structures. It's noticing spaces before you have a creative idea. It's recognizing space in every little aspect, because you know what space is? Space is God. Space is the universe. Space is where you connect. It's the nothingness is when you connect. That's where we all have the sameness, is in that space of nothing. So start to recognize the space. Bring more of the space into your life. Notice, especially within yourself, how you respond. We are in such a happy trigger emotional spectrum that, you know, it's almost emotional to the point where you can hear the conversations. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. How are you? Good. How's the weather? Weather's great. Oh, yeah, it was really nice today. Oh, yeah, well, not going to be nice tomorrow. Like, you can, it's an automatic conversation. It's an automatic thought process. And you know what? Our emotions and our reactions and how we live our life are totally from the zombie robot reaction. My body knows what to do. And it's when the observer takes back and looks at the situation and you're like, why am I responding this way? This is, you know what? No, it's crappy weather today. And it's not a nice day, you know? So bring in the space. And how do we then switch from the automatic robot reaction into more of a place of discernment? Well, that's bringing the space in. So practice. This is what I'm saying. Practice. I would love to hear how this works for you. Every single moment of the day, if you can bring in the PPRs, you know, the pray, pause, and reaction and response. Instead of reaction, you're going to respond. So what I mean by pray, so you can pray first, and that will be your pause, and then you can respond to a situation, or you can pause first, and then pray, and then respond. There really isn't, you can interchange those. And so what I mean by that, just try it in your everyday life, and that is to bring more space into your life. So if you're having a conversation, it starts off very, very, you know, robotic. Hi, how are you? Pause. Pray about it, and pray about it is to go within. You're God. You are a connect. You are God and manifest of creation here. So you can go within and ponder that. How are you? How would you like to respond to that? Are you in a good mood? Are you really good? You know, and it's funny to sit back and watch the reaction. And sometimes, you know, today I'm feeling better with my illness, but am I feeling good? I'm feeling better. So if someone came up to me, hey Rena, how are you? My automatic response would be like, oh, I'm good. But I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to bring that space into my thought process. And then I'm going to respond better than I was. I was sick, but I'm feeling better now. How are you? And that is more of an authentic, genuine response instead of being from an automatic response system. Now, some people already naturally do this, and that's awesome, and that's the first step of bringing space into your thought process, being mindful of everything that's coming through your system. That is truly what discernment is. And so it gets tricky. It gets tricky when the emotions start to come in. Now, a lot of people believe that the emotional realm is really, a reaction from the brain. And you are correct. Based in the 3D world dynamics of this planet, we are all just emotionally reacting to chemicals in the brain and exterior stimuli. However, I'm here to tell you that the emotional realm that starts off from spirit does not trigger the mind first. It triggers the imagination, and it triggers the creativity, and it triggers the space first before it brings a thought in. And so that is the difference between responding and reacting. How we currently act in our emotional bodies on the planet right now is robot auto trigger. It's exactly how it is. We already have a predisposed emotion for exactly how we're going to respond to something. If someone hurts your feelings, we already have a predisposed defense mechanism that's already kicked into an emotional response pattern. We do. It's so automatic because you are continually to feed the thought with the emotion. The thought comes in. Somebody attacks you. Some situation, something from your exterior is coming in and it is affecting you. And what do? You have an emotional response to it, and then before you know it, you spiral and the whole situation is blown up into drama. That's how the human race operates right now. That is very a three-dimensional, trying to work your way through this 3D stuff and missing your connection to source into your 5D. I'm here to tell you that if you bring the space in and you pray and you respond, then that will create space and that will pull in the fifth dimensional in first before you have an auto reaction robot trigger to the emotion. Now, it is difficult and it does take practice. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible at all. And this type of discernment, what I'm talking about, of sitting in your space and allowing that space and being the observer fully so that you can see everything, will then solve the form of attachment that creates suffering on the planet, because you will have more of a conscious choice and power of choice into what you want to do, because you will have actual discernment of how something makes you feel and how you emotionally respond to something, and things that you are no longer choosing anymore. So do you see, you're actually becoming the center point of everything that happens in your life. Practice. The PPRs. Pray, pause, respond. Or pause, pray, respond. And praying is what I'm saying is really about connection into self and into where God speaks to you, and exercising that intuition. Once we can start to continue doing that all the time, then really you're bringing in that higher source and your higher self through you in everything that you do. And it's much needed into changing three-dimensional world dynamics. And so the emotional realm, if you're going to be in this place of observer, first you're going to start bringing in space. That will automatically, when you're bringing in space, the pausing and the praying throughout your day and being mindful, bringing that practice in throughout your day. Notice how that will change things in your day. You will get different reactions in your day from people, because they'll be like, she totally took time to answer me. And it's okay. If you can't answer something right away too, you have the right to say no. That's another thing that's going to be in my book. You have a right to definitely say no. And so notice how that's going to change your day. And then when you start to come in more of that space in throughout your day, you're going to notice that you're going to be more of the observer in your day. Now, if somebody comes screaming at you, you owe me $400, you didn't pay me, and you get all this drama, what are you going to do? Pause. I'm going to pause. I'm not going to react to you right now. That's triggering anger in me because I paid you the money. And so if you see that reaction will bring, frustration and whatnot, pause. Pull away. You have every right to not respond. No response is also a response. And sit there and look at the feeling of the reaction of the feeling. Now, when you pause and bring the space in, you can then analyze and take a look at the emotion and observe the emotion. You don't have to partake in it. Now, this is what's huge for humans and what we find very difficult. You do not have to partake in every emotion that comes up. Just because an emotion comes up doesn't mean that you have to buy into it. You can be angry about the situation, but you are not the anger. You are the observer. So, oh, the bitch owes me so much money, blah, blah, blah. Pause. Take a step back, sit there, watch it, watch the anger spiral, watch it. Oh my God, then I would have said this and I would have said this. If you need to vent, get it out. Vent it out to a good friend. You don't need to go post it on Facebook. The more that you complain about the situation, the more heightened energy you're going to put into a situation. Also be mindful of that. Be mindful that you want to make the best, healthiest choice for yourself. So as you're sitting there, all these different options are going to come. Well, I'm just going to go vent on Facebook. Well, are you going to react to that or are you going to respond to it? Oh, you know what? Okay. I usually do that. I usually go and vent on Facebook. That's going to create more energy. I'm going to now go and I'm just going to call it my best friend. I would call it my best friend, Valerie. Valerie, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Get it out of your system. Now, catch yourself if you continue to complain about a situation because the more, you can complain for 3 or 4 days after that. That's a difficult one too. What are you doing when you continue to complain in the situation? You're creating it again. So in your pause can last for quite a while. You can sit there in your pause. Pray. Pause and pray. Pause and pray. Really go within. I usually react in, getting angry back, or I'll scream back at the person, or, okay, I've done better this time in my space. I didn't complain to Facebook. I called my best friend. I'm still angry. This anger is not going away. This is where it's called surrendering and bringing God and the angels into your life and learning to surrender. Now, you have many different options. This is your power. There is no right way to deal with the situation. You've got to sit there in your pause and your pray space and to figure out exactly what feels good for you. And really, it's trial and error. But as soon as you can bring the pause and the pray into your space, you're going to create the observer effect into your life. And once you continue to practice that, you're going to become more aware of everything that's coming into your life. And you're going to be able to see more so of where your attachments are. So that's all I really had for today. But I wanted to see if, how that works and how that resonates with everybody. And use the PPR. Pause, pray, respond. Pause, pray, respond, or pray, pause, respond. Whichever way. And that's what's been coming through to me. I believe it's going to be a very easy self-help book. And I'm actually going to be talking a lot about my own traumas in my life and how I've come to this space. So stay tuned for that. And love, love, love. And have a wonderful namaste day. Mwah. Enjoy.